Thank you for tuning in.
That was neat. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the news. Today, solo gig. Fernando's on vacation, and his laptop has the intro for the weather and this, and I forgot to get it before he left. So we're going to cut right into the weather. Today, my battery is going dead on my watch. Let's see what it is. It's 70. Ooh. It's going to go up to 81. Ooh, 85, 86 degrees today. It's sunny Clearwater, Florida, where this is happening. Let's see how everybody else is doing here in the world. Dave is checking in from Springfield, Massachusetts. Currently 43 with a high of 66. Jody is coming in. Northern Indiana with 61, a high of 77 today. It's going to be sunny. Good morning. Happy Friday. I'm a speeder in California, wondering if you guys can recommend a great radar detector. I have no idea. That is the one thing I never got into. East Tennessee checking in, 63 with a high of 83. Oh, although most of the guys like to use Redenzo, so maybe check out Redenzo. Morning, all. 35 with a high of 70, sunny in the upper Pacific Northwest. Fernando's out there in Seattle, so I saw it was kind of chilly. They had jackets on, so, hey, very cool. Good morning from Modesto. Brad checking in at 50, the high of 76. Brad was sending me some amplifier porn last night. That was a lot of fun and exciting. It sounds worse than it is. Just open shots of amplifiers, new projects they're working on. It's pretty cool. My favorite installer, hey, what's up? Good morning. 59 with a high of 80 in South Carolina. That sounds beautiful. Good morning, Mike. How you doing? Atlanta checking in. Georgia, 83 degrees for a high. I had my boy Jeff Smith in last night, who's actually here in Florida and kept me a little late shooting the proverbial stuff. It was nice to catch up with him. I haven't seen him since MasterTech, and even at MasterTech, we were both working, so we never really got a chance to catch up. So we spent a couple hours hanging out here in the Bay and just catching up, seeing what's going on with each other. Maryland checking in at 53. Good morning. Good morning. I told him to come up to my neck. Yeah, I mean, he comes back Monday, so I mean, he's got 2 more days of fun and excitement. And like anytime you travel with a daughter, at least our daughters, it seems like these guys have plans. Like Haley, when we go on a vacation, has mapped out the whole vacation and is accounted for every hour and everything along the way. And you just kind of there hold the credit card is how I kind of look at it. So you're talking to the wrong person is what I'm getting at. You should be talking to Naomi because she's the one that's probably running the show. High of 76 in Detroit. I'm just warming up. That's nice. San Diego, 6 a.m., low of 56, high 63. Sounds like awesome weather as always. And it's snowing in Denver. I mean, how is that even possible? I mean, I know like 2 weeks ago when I was in California, when I was in Canada, Toronto, it snowed. Like landing in snow was like crazy. I'm watching the planes get de-iced. And I'm like, I'm in shorts and I have a jacket, but I'm in shorts and a t-shirt with a jacket sitting here going, like 2 hours ago, it was so hot and beautiful. And now it's snowing and dreary and what the heck? Yeah, it's very weird. Good morning. Forgot to mention, I got my son that $26 gift card. That was a funny story. Boss dad movement. He had his son in this week. We put a subwoofer in for him because he just, had a birthday and he was like, going to do some cool stuff. Stepdad kind of action. So it was really, really, really fun. I like it when parents step up. It's kind of cool. I try to whenever possible. I mean, let's spoil the kids and make him not appreciate anything, right? No, I'm joking. No, his son was super grateful. I think I was just channeling my inner Haley. With that being said, this show and all the news on this show is brought to us by the fine folks at CE Outlook. And that is that we steal the news from them and bring it to you. Now, are there more news stories? Of course there's more news stories, but do we feel like talking about them? Not really. But if you would like to know more about them, or if you'd like to dive deeper into the news stories, head over to CE Outlook. Of course, links are in the description as always. And it's almost kind of a slow news week. Hang on, what's it say? We had a cruise port in Miami when we got back to South Carolina. It was snowing in April. Rough getting home. Oh my gosh, yeah, that's ridiculous, man. I could tell you right now that the LX amplifiers are tapped out for data use. Like there's nothing left on the chip. Thank you, CE Outlook. Yeah. Have you tried the new? No, we haven't. But with that being said, we do have some news. It's been an interesting news week for sure. So let's just jump right into it and see what we have. I'm going to turn this guy on here. And I'll turn that on so we can see me up in the top corner. Nav TV adds newest Zen interface. So a while back, Nav TV last year, Nav TV was scheduled to move on from this plane. Like they announced that they will be shutting their doors in September, and they were looking for a buyer. Now they had a buyer and they lined up and ready to go, and that was Mobridge. And so they didn't talk about it. We knew it was going to happen. Couldn't talk about it. Everyone was excited because Mobridge, they're again based out of Australia. They make interfaces, really nice interfaces. They have some DSP software as well. So they acquired all the assets of Nav TV. So that's great. That is the Zen modules. So now you can buy Mobridge or you can buy Zen, and they do different things for different applications. But they also have some really good engineering, and they're fast, which is really what we need in this industry. Because when you look at like most of the manufacturers, like the big three, PAC, iData, and Metra, in some cases, they're kind of slow. And when they do come out, they don't work because they haven't been vetted properly. And so we were excited to see that Mobridge was buying Nav and that they were buying the assets, and that they developed things a little faster because it's a lot smaller company, and it just doesn't have the roadblocks in place that these other three companies do, meaning multiple things that they have to worry about. You know, when you look at the big three companies like PAC has to worry about all of their assets in the Stinger line. So you have backup cameras, and you have dash cameras, and you have butt connectors, and you have radios, and you have lighting, and you have all these things that require the attention of the very few engineers that are there. So amp pros kind of take long. And then you look at iData has both the 12 volt aftermarket side as well as the alarm side, and there's only a certain amount of engineers, and there's a lot of work to do. So there's a lot of projects going on, and things take long. And then you look at Metra, and Metra develops plastics, so they're pretty good making plastics. The access side of things, they don't have a lot of engineering, so it runs into a problem. Whereas Nav TV, aka Mobridge, that's all they do. Their engineers do one thing: make interfaces. So this allows them to be a little bit more nimble and come out to market faster. In this case, if you have a Ford 2025 with a BO system in it, guess what? Your interface is now shipping. So Ford from 2024 to 2025 decided to change the connector at the amplifier, along with some of the data, obviously. And so for this year, we've been kind of stuck with, oh crap, we don't have an interface for the number one upgraded truck on the market, which is the F-150, at least for us. So totally biased. So Nav TV announced yesterday that their interface is now available, up and shipping, which is probably the quickest turnaround of any interface to ever come out. I mean, it's only April, and the truck has only been out for what, 4 months, 5 months, because it comes out December, November, and they boom, done, got it, shipping. You'll be able to pick one up. So for all of you that have been waiting patiently to do your 2025 F-150s with the BO system, boom, your piece is available. Contact your local dealer, and you're all set and ready to go. Good morning, Mike. Boston Mike in the house. All right, so moving on. For those of you that are into big radios, Linkswell announces that it is going to start a motorsport division called Trail Force, forged by Linkwell. So if you have a side-by-side and you're tired of the little tiny radio options that are available to you, get ready for an all-weather, weatherproof or waterproof or whatever 10-inch touchscreen that you'll be able to put into the dash. Linkswell is known for their big, sometimes way big, screens that you can put into the vehicle. Motorsports is going to, it seems like a natural transition of things for them to do because they're into big screens. Everybody likes big screens. The criticisms, of course, of Linkswell are like interfacing and sometimes, which is difficult in a car, as the late, great Larry Frederick so eloquently said in C Outlook. Dealing with cars is hard. Dealing with some of these, like at the time, referring to motorcycles, are easy. Motorsports, side-by-sides and things like that are definitely a lot easier to deal with than cars because there's no data bus, there's no air conditioning, steering wheel controls, and all these weird things that you have to interface into. So putting a big 10-inch screen in the dash just kind of seems like a really good idea. Did you ever buy... So right now I have absolutely nothing in the Mustang. I did talk with them again at CMA, and who knows? It's one of those things. Maybe one day a Mustang radio will show up. I did talk to some other people about a Mustang radio that they're coming out with. So at some point, there's going to be either no Mustang radios or all the Mustang radios will show up at one time. And then I'll be like, oh, crap, now I got to put all these things in. So everyone likes a volume knob. Everybody does like a volume knob, which is weird because nothing has a volume knob anymore. Like it's so very, very odd. But anyways, side-by-sides, big screens. Now, because it's a big screen, it's a big touch screen, they're putting in all the things you would hope. So you'll be able to turn on and off your lights, work your winches, do your accessories and stuff like that right from the touch of the radio. Hopefully they've realized that a lot of these people wear gloves, so it better be big buttons that you can tap with the gloves. We'll see how things go. Something to look forward to. And one of the next story is one of the things I'm super excited about. Yeah. Memphis blings out the 60th anniversary Mojo Pro sub and amp. I don't think it's the 60th anniversary. I think it's like the 15th anniversary. Either way. Could be. I don't care. What I really care about is these products are super awesome looking products. I've seen them twice now. They had them at Knowledge Fest. They had them in Canada. I've talked to Nick, and I'm like, Nick, I just want to buy a set of these amplifiers. They're so cool looking. I never got the gold-plated GS Orion amplifiers that they made back in my day, which is a shame. But these are equally as exciting. This is kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing. One thing that's really cool about Memphis is that there's some humor in the company. Like they like cool stuff. They like doing cool things. If you ever get the opportunity to meet Nick and the staff, they're a fun bunch of guys, very down to earth. They like doing cool stuff. They realize this is car audio and it should be fun. And so they take that kind of approach to their brand. And it is a fun brand, and they come out with fun, cool stuff that the market needs. I enjoy talking with them. They always have stuff that's exciting and new. This year they had this little, it's like a miniature stunt wall. I mean, it's like this big. And you just put an amp on it. It's all set and ready to go. And dude, let me tell you what, this thing was insane. They were pissing everybody off at CMA with it. And it was just this little box, super awesome. Anyways, they're coming out with two amplifiers that are fake gold plated with some fake blood diamonds and all this cool bling all over them. I mean, it couldn't get more cheesy than you would think. They look fantastic. The subwoofer has like a diamond encrusted M on top. They're little diamonds in the Memphis. I mean, it's 100% the cheesiest thing you've ever seen, but the awesomest thing you've ever seen. I love the idea. We all sit back and we go, man, I really wish for the 45th anniversary of this, they would do this. And then they don't. And then you're like, I really wish for this, they would do that. And then they don't. Memphis has said, you know what? Let's just do it. And it's really cool that they went ahead and came out with that. So pretty super cool. Yeah, exactly. I'm digging the bling. Would be a cool build. Yeah, I think, me, I just want them. I want to build a cool amp rack. I want to put them on the wall, and I just want to look at them because we all know I'll never put it in anything. So why kid myself? I just want to own them. It's really what it comes down to. There's a few things, and this is one of them that I'm really hoping I get the opportunity to get my hands on and just kind of stare at for a while in a weird way. New diamond micro amplified enclosures. So in the past, people have been kind of leery of amplified enclosures. They're like, hey, man, it can't be real. It can't be a thing. We often talk about one particular amplified enclosure. Like we always talk about the Rockford P3 enclosures. And some people are digging them. Some people have never tried them. They just look at it and go, there's no way they can put out bass. But our good friend, Chris Vera, who will be the host tomorrow night. I've settled on Chris. We settled. No, Chris is going to be here with me, not here, but he'll be in a window next to me for tomorrow night's show. So it's pretty exciting because I have questions. He's good. He's really proficient at printing in 3D. As you know, we do 3D printing. And I have some questions I want to talk to him about. So that'll be fun. As well as, of course, we're going to answer all your car stereo needs. His perspective is from the Best Buy install bay. And, of course, ours is from the cave. So everything is good there. But he called me the other day to tell me, like, oh, my God, these things are amazing. Is this real? And I was like, yeah. So point of this is Diamond has new boxes coming out. This is a small 8-inch version of the box. They have other boxes in the line. I'm curious to see what these things can do. Because let's be honest, in the world that is moving forward, the modern DSP world, where you're buying an 8-channel or a 10-channel or a 12-channel DSP amplifier, these amplifiers are really designed to power the mids and highs. So you have 6 channels up front or 4 channels up front, 2 channels in the back, and you have a center channel. And so all these channels are dedicated to powering the smaller speakers. And then we have to add a bigger amplifier to power the subwoofer. And believe it or not, I know this is going to sound strange, not everybody is into a ton of bass. Some people just want bass. They want a simple subwoofer enclosure in the back that is easy to remove, doesn't have a bunch of nonsense to it. And so things like this are becoming very popular in our world because they're easy to install and easy to remove, and they provide just the right amount of bass, take up not a ton of space, and they integrate perfectly into the smaller DSP amplifiers. So I'm curious to see, what this will actually do. I'm sure we'll find out at some point. I'm a big fan of the spare tire enclosures. We're still rocking that in Haley's car, but we'll see. I think everybody needs a DSP these days with the price on some that came down. Yeah, no, DSP for sure is the way to go. Lastly is the big story of the week that just basically broke the 12-volt internet. Garmin response to JL Audio name change post. This is one of those things where you have a marketing department that gets paid way too much money, and they really don't understand what it is they're doing. Like, we've seen this time and time again when a big company comes in and they purchase somebody else, not necessarily in 12 volt, just in general, things go haywire because they don't necessarily understand the culture of what it is they bought. They see the name, they want to own the name. Now, in some cases, powerful buying companies will come in and they will just gobble something up and it'll disappear forever. And in some cases, we have somebody come in, they'll buy an intellectual property and they'll make it terrible, aka Star Wars, Marvel, DC. These things are just getting gobbled up and turned into like, oh my God, another superhero movie. Oh my God, another bad Star Wars movie. So it's not like we're not used to this. But when it's something we love or we cherish or we feel like we have a vested interest in, well, we kind of lose our shit is the best way to put it. And so JL Audio definitely being one of the most popular brands in this genre. When you decide that you're going to screw with it, well, you're going to get some backlash. That is for sure. And then in our little community of 12 volt, when you tell somebody and don't explain in great detail what it is you're doing with their beloved name and their beloved brand, well, you're going to get some backlash. And that is exactly what happened when they came up with this very generic thing that said, the brand you know and love is now changing to Garmin. And so when you read it immediately, if you're a today's person, let's just call it, you immediately thought that they were changing JL Audio to Garmin Audio, which honestly was the stupidest thing you could ever possibly think that they were going to do, because why would they do that? They bought the intellectual property and all the assets along with it because it's JL Audio. Like when you see a boat in a dock, you look for the JL Audio brand. There's no way they would change that to Garmin. That would just be silly. It would make absolutely no sense. So what they did is, no, all they were doing is changing the social media side of things. So the website, everything will now be under Garmin. When you Google, JL Audio, it's going to pop up in a Garmin page because it is Garmin and they're bringing it into the fold. They fired all of their, they fired all their reps, and they'll end their tenure in July. So they're faithful people that were working for the previous company all got canned. They've been cutting people across the board, which is to be expected when a bigger company gobbles up a smaller company. And so the question is out as what is going to happen with JL Audio as far as on our side of things. We all know that the marine audio is going to continue on and do its thing, but Garmin is slowly but surely, just because they're a much bigger company that have different views of what their products need to be, are just gobbling them up and changing the landscape of the JL Audio, which is just pissing off everyone in the 12 volt community that is a fan of JL Audio. So yeah, what happened to my precious Phoenix Gold? If you live in Europe, your Phoenix Gold is still a thing. Not here. I don't think this is going to happen, because Garmin is a very well-respected company and makes fantastic products. So I don't think that is going to happen. And if you look at they bought Fusion years ago. They bought the company Fusion. You may or may not remember them. And they bought it for the name because they were becoming very popular in the marine industry. And the quality of Fusion went up. Okay. So they took what was an entry-level product and improved upon it. So I really don't think you're going to see them become poor. I think what you're going to see is certain sides of them are just going to disappear, like the 12 volt side of things. I don't think that is going to continue on. I think as time goes on, it's going to become smaller and smaller and smaller, because it's just not going to be, in the grand scheme of it, this is a company that makes money. They have a different outlook on this industry than the original JL crew did. So what you'll probably see, and my guess, this is 100% my opinion because it's my news show, is that over the next 5 years, you're just going to see the brand shrink down and eventually do what Fusion did, which was totally get out of the 12 volt space altogether and just concentrate on marine and other assets in their catalog. You might see JL Audio and airplanes and fun stuff like that. Who knows? I mean, that could happen now that they have the ability to do that. So yes, and there again, JL pissed off a lot of faithful dealers by opening JL Audio to Garmin dealers, basically cannibalizing their sales. And there again, it's a different structure. So, we grew up loving this brand, not me in particular, but, fan base grew up loving this. And then we've ripped the Band-Aid off. And now there's another person in charge that has a different direction for the company. And they don't necessarily care think about this for a minute. They have so much money and they have so much direction that they don't care where the brand has been, what the brand has done, any of the history. They merely just go to a dock. They see all of the JL Audio stuff in there and they say, why isn't that us? And so they buy them. What they don't understand, and a lot of these big companies don't understand when they buy these things, is that it's the people that got them there that they fire first that made that company popular. Okay. We've seen this happen with other manufacturers that got bought up. And the first thing on day 2, they fire all the distribution channels. And you're like, wait a minute, like, guys, these are the people that made your brand popular. Yeah, but we don't need them anymore because we are popular. This happened in the cell phone industry back in the late 80s, early 90s. They went to a bunch of small independent retailers and they had them selling cell phones. Once the cell phone companies got enough subscribers, they hit the number they needed to hit. And the first thing they did was cut all these independent guys and they opened their own stores because now they have the money to do it. So, we as fans of a product have made that product popular, and the people on the backside that have been feeding it to us have also made this brand popular. And now this guy comes along at the peak of this company's success and buys them, and then they destroy the whole culture around the product because they're not really concerned with that. They're just going to make stuff that they can sell with their other stuff. And, hey, it happens. I mean, in our world, one of the biggest 12-volt groups ever to make sound is Harman International. Actually, as an audio company, Harman International is the biggest audio company on the planet. They own so many intellectual properties. It's unbelievable. And they make they make body control modules for cars, and they make everything. And you got JBL, you have B&O, Mark Levinson, and 10 other brands that are in most cars. Infinity, it's all Harman. Look it up. But they're the biggest OE manufacturer of audio. They make headphones, little Bluetooth speakers, and stuff like that. Samsung bought them years ago because Samsung wanted to be in the automotive space, and instead of trying to have a go at it like they did with refrigerators and that are apparently a nightmare, they said, screw it, let's just buy the biggest guy. We got that kind of money. So they bought them. So all this stuff it's Harman by Samsung. Now, Samsung has done a really good job of staying in the background, but I'm sure some of the things have changed. And because it was a big company, so it's going to take years and years and years of integration to go in and change things. But Samsung is, on the door, and the bottom says Samsung. So, in some companies in our space, like we were talking about last night on the Hi-Fi Vegas show, it's like when you look at other companies that we've had, they just disappeared. Like my favorite, of course, is Orion. Orion exists in today's space, but it's not run by Sam Taylor, and it's gone through so many different iterations between then and now. It's no longer the same company. So it happens. We all just move on. Will that happen to JL Audio? It appears, but it's going to happen faster than it did with all these other brands. But hey, that's okay. I mean, things change. We don't have to like it, but it's just what happens. Good morning. Use a lot of JL components. That's never subs. I'm too cheap for their subs. No, it happens. Well, 5-star carry JL Audio now. Now there was some demographic. Paul would love to carry JL, and he keeps threatening me with doing it. For me, I don't really think we need it in our mix. JBL, Harman, Bluetooth are the bomb. Dude, I love my little JBL. I have tons of them at home. JBL, great bunch of guys on our side of things. They always give us these little Bluetooth speakers, which is pretty awesome. So, JL and Rockford Fosgate amps are the perfect match. Beautiful sound tuning and enclosures, into place, of course. Yeah, so we'll just have to wait and see what happens. I don't think, there again, who knows? This could also be something new for them. This could go a totally different way. If you go, okay, 12-volt space, they're really not big in that. Let's say they want to develop that. So now let's say they pump a bunch of money into 12-volt space, and JL Audio comes out with, let's say, 150 new products in the next 3 years. They change all of their big amplifiers, the smaller amplifiers, and they keep it going. We could look at the positive side of this, that they're going to come out with all new stuff. Hey, what would you build if you had money? And they're like, oh, let's build all this. So that's a way it could go. But with an ulterior motive is to go after Harman. And, let's say 3 or 4 years from now, we see an F-150 with a JL Audio system in it. That's a possibility. It's not always doom and gloom. We have the C7 components, we could see a C8 or a C10 component, or we could just go away from that nomenclature altogether. And, they could come out with brand new high-end stuff and small amplifiers and VXI2. And there's a bunch of things that they could do other than just doom and gloom. So a lot of us like to just think of things as the worst possible way for something to happen, when in reality, you never know. It could be the most amazing thing. And in 3 or 4 years from now, we'll be going, dude, remember Karma bought Yale? That was the best thing that ever happened to them. Oh my gosh, look at this new product. It could go that way. We'll have to wait and see. We got nothing else better to do, right? Hey, it is Friday. That is fantastic. A lot of you guys are off today because apparently it's a holiday. Who knew? Kids are out of school. So if you're at home dealing with your loved one, brat, hey, have a fantastic day. Tomorrow is Saturday at 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Make sure to join us back here again. We'll be doing our Q&A show. I will have a co-host, Mr. Chris Vera, a.k.a. the Best Buy guy. And we will be answering your questions. I'll be asking him some questions. We'll be having lots of fun, as always. And also tune into Instagram. Yesterday was a weird day here, and I got some time to do some much needed work in the install bay, which is very strange. So I'll come on later today, and we'll kind of talk about some of the changes that we've been talking about doing now for a year. And I finally got to do yesterday, which was fantastic. So stay tuned for that. But for the rest of you guys, go forth, be merry, have a fantastic Friday. We made it through the news, and it wasn't all bad. Wasn't all bad. You guys have a great day, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.